Hello, everyone. So I do apologize. I actually planned to release a video last weekend, but when I got home from Ireland, it is our fall autumn time, and I realized I had a crap ton of work to do around the yard. And I'll be honest, my jet lag was pretty bad too when I got back. We had a struggle on the way home with Air Canada. Not a fan at all of Air Canada. This was hopefully, I gotta get comfortable here. It was me trying to give them like a redemption from when I used them like 7 years ago when I went to Costa Rica. I had a massive issue with them and they didn't redeem themselves. So Air Canada, done with them. But moving on. Oh my word. I can't even begin to tell you how amazing Ireland is. The people, the scenery, the history. You know, as a Canadian, we don't have a lot of older history. So I get pretty pumped up when we start seeing castles and really old cathedrals. But anyways, so I'm going to be doing a few videos on Ireland. And to start it off, we're going to start with Dublin. So let's get to it. Okay, so I don't know why I'm so winded. I exercised this morning, but anyways, where we stayed. So we actually had 2 different times during our week vacation in Dublin. We spent 2 nights in Dublin, went down to Cork, and then came back up to Dublin again. We stayed in 2 different areas, and I'll be honest with you, I was kind of surprised on this one, the Temple Bar, which is probably one of the biggest attractions when people come to Dublin. We actually stayed a couple doors down from it, called Temple Bar Lane, which at the time I didn't know. It's more of a hostel than a hotel. There's no elevator, which when you are carrying large luggage really suck. There were some reviews that I was kind of like, I didn't know if I wanted to stay here because I am a little older and I kind of need my sleep. And the reviews were that it was extremely loud and they give you earplugs. But I think the 2 young girls at the desk felt bad for us because we kind of are older than what the average age is that comes to this place. So I'm fairly certain they put us in the geriatric ward. But don't get me wrong, the beds were so comfortable. We did not hear any of the noise whatsoever, but the location is perfect. This place here, location-wise, is amazing because you can reach pretty much everything by walking. The second place that we stayed at, which is the Academy Plaza Hotel. Now this is a 3-star hotel. It is off of O'Connell Street, which is the main street. This is where all of the transportation, all the buses kind of meet up, is on this street here. This is the busy street, and it's literally like a minute walk off the street. I was not a fan of the room. They were great, very modern. The beds were super singles, so smaller than a single. They were comfy, but you couldn't roll. And I am not a big person. So the first night, I actually almost rolled right off the bed. I am a little bit of a tosser, but I was not expecting, and I had no issues whatsoever sleeping in a single, but this one here was really small. But again, the hotel was nice. The customer service was, I would give it maybe a 6. And the reason being was that the front desk people were a little bit grouchy, to say the least. They were not very hospitable. But aside from that, the hotel was beautiful. And again, the location was perfect. So when we talk about the main areas of Dublin, we are talking about the Temple Bar area and again, the O'Connell Street. These two areas here are your tourist areas. These areas are the ones that you're going to be a lot safer walking around in. And I actually really enjoyed both of these areas. There is so much to see in this vicinity. So when we talk about attractions, do the hop on, hop off. We did Do Dublin, which is the green one. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the fact that they give like a commentary when they're explaining all the different places that you're passing. The great thing about the hop on, hop off is if you want to stop in a specific area, you can just get off the bus, go see whatever it is that you want to see, and then jump back on again. I really, really enjoyed it. And again, the tour bus operators are hilarious. I absolutely loved the commentary during our trip around. And this is something I would suggest for those who are not really mobile, meaning that because a lot of the places here are within walking distance of either of the places that I said. They're not a far jaunt. The only one that is pretty far out would be the Guinness Storehouse and the park. Aside from that, everything else is in a pretty good walking distance. But if you are kind of pressed for time, 24 hours on this bus will give you a beautiful overview of the city. But let's talk about all the different places that you must see when you go to Dublin. So top spots, let's talk about Trinity College. This one here is probably one of the busier tourist attractions, obviously in Dublin. For good reason, you get to venture in to see the Book of Kells. The grounds here are absolutely stunning. So with the Book of Kells experience, you actually have to get a ticket ahead of time, or if you're lucky, you can get one at the entrance gate once you arrive. And the young girl that was there, I was dying. I made a joke saying that Jody and I were seniors and she charged us senior rate, which literally made my day because I know I'm not a senior, but I was dying laughing. And the main reason is that she told us it was basically the cost of a beer that she saved us. So thank you, sweetheart. You gave us a good laugh. The Book of Kells experience is amazing. This library, which I was a little thrown off because a lot of the shelves were empty, but this library is actually still in use by the students and it is stunning in its own. And I just absolutely loved it. Now, the Book of Kells, you actually cannot videotape it. I managed to get a little video as I was leaving out the stairs, but you cannot take pictures or videos of the actual Book of Kells, which it's really cool to see. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact of how it's made, which is of piglet skin, I think. Pretty sure that's what it was, but it was pretty interesting. Next big one is Dublin Castle. And this one here was really interesting to see. One, I really enjoyed the grounds, but I absolutely loved the little walkthrough. One of the things I'm going to suggest is if you want a better guide to it and you don't want a guided tour, get yourself the kids pamphlet. Jody makes fun of me, but there's so much information on this thing. And if you're bored, you can start doing some coloring. But the castle itself is absolutely stunning, and I loved walking through here. The old charm and the history and the Victorian, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And like I said, venturing out to the grounds as well, the garden area was absolutely beautiful as well. St. Patrick's Cathedral. Now, I am not a religious person, but I absolutely love cathedrals, especially older ones. The charm, if you've seen any of my videos before, I like going in and seeing the workmanship and the architecture that goes into making these stunning, beautiful buildings. And St. Patrick's Cathedral is definitely one that should not be missed. The Guinness Storehouse. This is probably one of the best experiences I've ever had on a tour within anything, really. It was absolutely amazing. Now, I will say this. If you are taking your time to get here, you want to make sure that you get your tickets ahead of time, because you can be turned away at the door. We actually got in to do the experience. The one that we wanted to do, it was fully booked out. So be sure to book your tickets well in advance, and trust me, it is totally worth it. Now, this was my first time ever having Guinness, but what I loved was the interactive tour that they put you through. So you're actually walking upwards through here. They're taking you to all these different visual effect rooms, and it was absolutely amazing to see how they make their beer. Then when you get to the top, you give you a ticket ahead of time so you can go in and you get your free beer. And again, this was my first time having Guinness. Ireland, don't hate me. I'm not a beer fan as it is. I had to try it. Oh, I'm not a fan. I'm so sorry. I think that it's one of those beers, you either love it or you hate it, and I'm just not a fan. But I will say this, the Guinness Irish stew, to die for, but the beer, no, not a fan. Sorry, Ireland. So I'm just going to take a few minutes from this video and ask for your support. One of the ways you can support me for free on this channel is to like, subscribe, and share. So if you haven't already, give this video, and if you like it, of course, give this video a thumbs up. Please hit the subscribe button and of course the notification bell so you can be notified anytime any of my future videos come up. Thanks, everyone. Next up would be the park. Now, we didn't have time to do this, unfortunately. I wish I had managed my time and everything ahead of time, because I would have liked to have walked around this park. It is absolutely stunning just from the little drive that we did into it. But if you are into nature, this would definitely be a spot for you. And lastly, the prison. Again, this was another spot that we missed due to time. I regret that one. But if you are planning on coming here, now they do say that the doors close at 5 or 5:30, but you have to be there by 4 or they're not letting you in, which they're angry about it too. So don't try and push it. But this is definitely a spot that you want to check out too. Here are a couple of other spots that you definitely want to get off if you are doing the hop on, hop off bus. These ones here are pretty close to each other. So again, some spots that you definitely do not want to miss. And that is obviously the Temple Bar. It's a really cute little building. The bar is, if you're coming at nighttime, just be prepared that it is completely packed in here. The Halfpenny Bridge. So back in the day, the Halfpenny Bridge was actually paid bridge to cross over, which was a half a penny, which is how I got its name, the Halfpenny Bridge. The Brazen Head, if I'm not mistaken, I actually think it is the oldest pub in Ireland or in Dublin. The Famine Memorial. Now this one here, the statues are incredible. And if you don't know much of the history in Ireland, this here is a memorial to a really hard time in Ireland where they actually lost a lot of population, not only to famine, but a lot of people actually left. This memorial here is absolutely stunning and very emotional. Jeannie Johnson. Now, this is a ship that you could actually get a tour on. We didn't have time to do the tour, but this was one of the ships, obviously, that took a lot of people during that period. Then, of course, there's the Molly Malone statue. Please do yourself a favor and save yourself the embarrassment. This is actually something that the Irish people do not respect. Please leave your hands off her goods. Like, you can actually see the difference of where people are constantly putting their hands. And it's just disturbing. Don't do it. Okay, so when it comes to food, if you love junk food, you have to go to this place here. This is the Hot Donut. And these donuts are incredible. I love a good donut. These ones are filled donuts. We got the cappuccino. We got the raspberry. I think the other one was like Snickers or something like that. Anyways, they were all so freaking good. I really, really enjoyed them. Definitely you have to check this place out, and it's here on the O'Connell Street. If you are looking to get a picture of the Temple Bar when it's not so busy, I would suggest going in the morning. Grab yourself some breakfast from this cute little place, which is right next door to the Temple Bar, and it's called the Brick Alley Cafe. The food was actually really, really good. I enjoyed my breakfast here. And then you can go out, take your pictures in front of the Temple Bar and move along to your next destination. Breakfast at the Bagel Bar. This place is really cute. The breakfast bagels are delicious and their chai lattes are so good. I'm not gonna lie, this is where Jody got me hooked on. Now I'm officially hooked on chai lattes, so thanks for that, Jode. Burgers at the Guinness stores. So I would suggest doing the Guinness one either at lunchtime or around dinner time, and get yourself a meal there. It wasn't that expensive. I was kind of shocked by that, but considering it's like kind of a touristy trap, I thought for sure that the food was gonna be a lot more expensive, but the burgers were actually really, really good. And the restaurant it's adorable. Murray's it's on my list for another reason for a pub, but the food here is really good. If you love fish and chips, or you want to have a good Irish stew, this is definitely a great place. I will suggest that if you are coming here for the entertainment, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, I would highly suggest ahead of time, way ahead of time, booking a reservation, because if not, you're going to be stuck in the corner like we were. And then of course, let's talk about pubs, because, well, if you're coming to Ireland, and you don't drink, you're probably gonna have a really boring time. I'm just joking. It's beautiful if you don't drink, but still, if you drink, this is the hands down, is probably one of the best places to come to, because there are pubs and bars and entertainment everywhere. So let's talk about pubs. So like I mentioned before, the Temple Bar, this one here was right next to where we stayed and is probably the most popular pub in Dublin. And again, it will be crowded. The Stag's Head, this one here is actually not that far from the Temple Bar. It is a Victorian traditional Irish pub. I really liked it. It was very chilled when we had gone there, which was probably about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Next up is the Long Hall. And again, this is one of Dublin's oldest pubs. It boosts the traditional charm, and I really like this place. Now, if you have ever seen the movie P.S. I Love You, this is the bar where he sings to her, and this is Whelan's. This is a great place for live music. And like I said, the one place that I really enjoyed was Murray's. And the reason being is that unfortunately we were getting up early the next morning, so we couldn't get to see the Irish dancing, but they have amazing live music here. And again, if you are planning to come here, make sure you reserve yourself a table and try and get yourself close to the stage so you can really enjoy the entertainment here. I am going to do a couple of videos on day tours that you can do from Dublin. Those ones are going to be coming up soon. So definitely looking forward to those ones there. The next video is actually going to be about Cork, how we got to Cork, what to do in Cork, and this is where a lot of my family comes from. So I was pretty excited to go down and see some of the history down here. So look forward for that. And if you haven't already, give this video a like. It is a great way to help my channel out, and it's free for you. And of course, if you want to see any of my future videos, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for any of my future videos. And if you think anyone's going to benefit from this, don't forget to share. Thanks, everyone. Have yourselves a wonderful day.